Hey campers, my name is Victoria from Sunrise Day Camp, and I'm here to inspire you to use your creative mind. As we all know, this week's theme is Safari Week. But before we get into the craft for today, let's see what the inspirational easel has to say. Now it may be a little bit difficult to see, but this one says it's a good day to have a good day. Every day with my Sunrise family is one of the best days that I experienced throughout my life, which is exactly why I do this with you guys here. To get started for today's craft, we're going to be painting a sunrise in the safari. What you're going to need is either paper or a canvas. I'm going to be using paints. If you have colored pencils, markers, or crayons, you can use those as well. The colors that we're going to need are white, red, yellow, and black. You can use a lid or a palette, anything, a paper plate to put your paints on, a big paintbrush, and a smaller paintbrush. You don't need as many as I have, but I recommend a fine tip one and possibly a flat paintbrush. To keep your brushes clean, of course, we're going to need water, and to keep your surface clean, I recommend that you have either newspapers, extra paper, a tablecloth, or even paper towels on the surface you're going to be painting on. So gather all of your supplies, hit pause, and once you're ready, we can get started. So once you've gathered all of your supplies, it's time to get started. You're going to either lay down your canvas or your piece of paper onto a surface that you can trust that is clean, like I have here with my paper towels. And we're going to begin with our largest brush. You're going to take a little bit of yellow with your brush, plop it onto your canvas, and you're going to take a little bit of red and do the same thing. I'm going to put the red on the top part, mostly, and then just a little bit less on the bottom. I'm going to just start brushing across my canvas. So it might look really dark now, but once the yellow starts blending, it's going to give us a prettier orange color in the sky. We're going to drag that color down. And I want it to get more of a light yellow as we get closer to the bottom. So I'm going to take some more yellow and add it to the bottom here. I'm going to start blending that with the red on the bottom. And as we go, we're going to start to get this gradient, going from a darker redder orange color to a light orange color. Make sure you get all the edges. You're going to get a little messy with your hands, so just be prepared for that. And then see, as you see on the edges, I kind of went up and down to make sure I got all the white spots. But I'm going to continue going side to side again to keep that gradient that I had. Now, if you want your color to be a lighter orange, say this was too dark for you, or maybe this was too dark for you, you're going to take some yellow, and as you blend that in while the paint is still wet, it'll lighten it up for you. So for me, personally, I am happy with the colors that I see here. And then once this step dries, we're going to paint in the sun. Where this yellow kind of starts here, we're going to have a little bit of a brighter yellow right here for our sunrise. So you're going to hit pause, let your paint dry, don't rush the process, and then we'll come back and we will do the next step. So now that we waited for our background to dry, it's time to include our sun. We're just going to take a very thin amount of the yellow paint onto your larger brush. And we're going to start gently painting that sunrise. Now if you need to, feel free to wet the tip of your brush very slightly to help the paint move along the paper much smoother. So you're going to do this If it happens to blend at all with the color below it, that's okay. If anything, that'll actually make it look more natural by reflecting and taking in colors from what surrounds the sun. The bottom does not have to be as nice because we are going to have a black silhouette on the bottom. But as long as you have the sun covering most of the painting on the bottom half, and you are aware of where you want your silhouette to begin, you will be totally okay as to where you make the bottom of your sun. So you can make this as messy as possible, whatever you want to do, that part won't matter. Beautiful. So now while this part is drying, we're going to actually start doing our tree silhouette. So we're gonna get the flat brush here. We're gonna dip it in the black and begin that first silhouette. So the trees in the safari tend to have longer and thinner bushes on their trees. I'll show you what I mean by that exactly. So you're kind of just gonna go like this, and we're gonna start drawing where the bushes of the trees will be first. So here's one. We'll do one up higher. It's kind of almost gonna look like black clouds. You're just gonna gently tap the brush to give that natural leafy look effect. We're gonna have one over here, a little lower, and then soon we're gonna add in those branches as well. So now we have this one here. Maybe we're gonna add another smaller tree in this area. This one's gonna be further back, so it's gonna be a little bit harder to read, but enough at the same time. And on this end, I'm gonna have a larger tree somewhere closer up, but so close it actually kind of cuts out of the picture. Now I'm gonna put this brush in here so it can get cleaned off, and I'm gonna go into my thinner brush. If you have a thinner brush, that's perfect. If you don't, you can always use the back of your paintbrush as well. As you see, I do that every once in a while. So we're gonna dip this brush back into the black, and we're gonna start doing the trunk and the base of our trees. So again, my silhouette landscape is gonna be around here. So just gonna kind of draw a line throughout here, right in the center of my left tree. And now where it meets the bushes, I'm gonna have it kind of branch outward. And they kind of have branches that almost connect like this, like it's almost like a tabletop where it holds the bushes. So we're gonna have these branches coming out from our tree, giving that tabletop effect. And we're gonna continue these steps. So again, while your sun in the sunset is drying, just keep adding as many trees as you like. Maybe you only want one tree. Maybe you don't really even want the trees. But we're gonna do this step, and then we're just gonna go across with the black as well. All of this is gonna be done while the yellow is drying, and then I'm gonna teach you guys how to draw a giraffe and its silhouette by the trees. So continue these steps. You can feel free to hit pause, and then we will continue on to the giraffe. So now that the sun is dry as well as the rest of the silhouette, it's time to start painting our giraffe. What we're going to do is get another thin brush, if not the same thin brush, dip it into some black paint, and we're gonna begin with the head. I'm gonna have my giraffe somewhere around here in the center of my sun, but slightly more towards the left. For the head, we're going to be making a little triangular shape with the longer side facing the left. That's gonna represent where the nose of our giraffe is. On the top right of that triangle, we're going to add the little bit of those little antler things they've got and the ear. Once you suggest those things, you're going to add the neck. The neck is the same idea as the triangle. We're just gonna make a long, thin triangle going out in this direction. One part is gonna go a little bit lower than the other, however, it's gonna connect to the body. To give the effects of the hair of the giraffe, we're just gonna lightly take the brush and give a little bit of gentle taps on the edge. to get the effects of the hair that the giraffe has. At the edge of that neck, we're going to start doing the round body. And connecting it as well, of course, to the front of the end of the neck. To help represent the front of the legs, rather than just making them flatten down, we're gonna have it look like he's kind of walking. So now at the front of a giraffe, they often have this little bump here on their chest to represent their chest and help connect their legs. So we're gonna give a little thick part to the front part of the legs and make it face forward as if it's walking towards the trees. Now to represent the leg that's on the right-hand side of the giraffe behind its body, we're gonna give a little one facing backwards to again show that it's walking. And now the back thighs tend to be a lot larger because that's where most of the power of their legs are. So we're gonna make these some thicker little thighs back here and bring them on. Again, it's walking, so we're gonna move one leg in the back and one slightly forward. And of course, our giraffe has a tail. So we can give it a little tail here, nice and thin. And again, like we did the hair here, to make the hair on the edge of the tail, we're just gonna kind of tap the edge of the barb brush. Now, if you like, you're more than welcome to give it a little friend and add a couple more giraffes. I'm gonna actually draw a little bird in the background. Be a little silhouette, maybe I'll have a couple following. And how you do that is just very delicately, it's not necessarily an M, but it has the same idea as the M shape. You could have, the smaller they are, the more that you're suggesting they're further back. If you want a bird to be closer up. If you look on the left-hand side, I'll make a closer up bird. This one will be a lot closer. We'll suggest his face and give him a little beak, as well as his body. If you want to make one really far back, you can do the slightest little black dot, and there he is. Once you've finished your safari sunrise, it's time to start sharing your artwork on blooms. I'm really excited to see how I inspired you to use your creative mind, and I look forward to doing more with you guys next time. See ya!
If you're not watching this on the Sunrise Studios app, well, why not? You can download the Sunrise Studios app on your phone or tablet from your app store, and you can watch all of our virtual camp videos the moment they're released. You can also find Sunrise Studios on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, or you can watch it on our Sunrise Association YouTube channel. See you soon!